Alright, Gothitelle and Arceus, they cannot fake out. They can't extreme speed if they have it. Honestly, I'm just down to see what they have for helping hand boosted expanding force here. I'm sure Gothitelle will take it fine, but yeah, Arceus doesn't. And welcome back once again to VGC Legends. This is the series where I spin a wheel, get a random, legendary, or mythical Pokemon that exists in Scarlet and Violet, build a team on the spot around that Pokemon, and try that team out on the Regulation J ladder. As always, the two reasons for which I do this are number one, I just really like legendary and mythical Pokemon, and number two, by trying out a bunch of different teams, some good, some bad, some in between, have a fun little gameplay and team building adventure, and maybe learn some things along the way. Enamorus was certainly an interesting one last time. Let's see if we get something a bit more normal, or even zanier this time. One way to find out. Let's spin that wheel. Oh, look at that. The original restricted legendary, so to speak. Except, of course, VGC didn't exist in Gen 1. But I have no idea what I'm going to do with Mewtwo in Reg J. Let's go try to figure that out, shall we? Okay, so Mewtwo. Obviously, one wants to do right by the original most powerful Pokemon in the world, but it's a tricky one to make work right now. I mean, 154 base special attack is pretty good. There's nothing inherently boosting that. It doesn't have like a Hadron engine or even a Grimnay, but it's a good start. But then this speed stat is, while still very fast, just a tiny bit slower than the likes of Koraidon and Miraidon. The special attack stat, like I said, is very good, but probably the biggest damage option you can go for with Mewtwo is Expanding Force and Psychic Terrain. And in my experience, and I did try to make it work in Regulation G at one point, it does kind of miss a lot of key KOs. Plus, Shadow Rider Calyrex just does it better, so it can be a little hard to find a niche for Mewtwo in that sense. I know there was a team in Reg I that used Mewtwo with Eternatus, and it was, I think, like a bulky setup Eternatus, and then the Mewtwo was running Life Dew, and I don't remember what else. I know I featured that team on the channel at some point. And knowing that, I'm actually going to do something I haven't done in a while in this series, and take a look at Top Cut Explorer for some inspiration. It has been quite some time since any of these Reg I events that I look at, so I mean, even Bologna is quite a while ago now, but maybe we can find something worthwhile in one of these recent events. Just gonna open all of them up here. We'll start with Bologna, and there's probably only gonna be one Mewtwo showing up, yeah, across like all of the events I look at. There's none in the top 256 in Bologna. In Santiago, no Mewtwo. In Utrecht. There's the one. And then just check Melbourne first. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, yeah, this is the one team that I was talking about. I did try this one on... I tried this one in some past video. It was like forever ago now. But it was Cosmic Power, Black Sludge, Eternatus, and Terra Dragon Mewtwo with Psy Strike, Aura Sphere, Life Dew. I don't remember everything that was for, but I mean, Mewtwo is a bulky, or not bulky, it's not terrible bulk-wise, but Mewtwo is a fast healer and offensive support for a setup mon is honestly probably not a bad starting point, considering Mewtwo just doesn't quite have the kit to be an offensive mode in its own right. I'm gonna try one other thing actually. I'm gonna try two other things. I'm gonna try Lab Mouse. It's another useful VGC site that we haven't looked at in a while here. I don't know why this search is defaulting to Yahoo. I should fix that, but... and I'm going to take a quick look at Munch stats. I don't know actually if there are Reg J stats up yet. I've never looked for any. Reg H, sure, but I'm looking for... no Reg J, but there is Reg I. We can see what Mewtwo is running there. It does show up as 0.02% usage in Reg I. Just expanding force stuff, mostly. Actually, that's not true. Fewer than half of them were running expanding force. But they are mostly just attacking. The Life Orb, Indeedee, Tornadus. Makes sense. Lab Mouse now. I'm gonna look... so with this, I can look at past tournaments, but with a broader lens than Top Cut Explorer. Top Cut Explorer will only show me the top 256 teams from Bologna. There was no Mewtwo there. With Lab Mouse, I can see all the teams. Obviously, the trade-off is when you go beyond the top 256, you're going to find some weaker ones. But here's Bologna. Way back at the beginning of June, huh? Feels like a long time ago now. I can look for Mewtwo. There might not have been a single one in the entire event. Is that right? Looks like it. Alright, I guess this is basically what we have to work with for inspiration. Or I could just do Psy Spam, offensive Mewtwo. Psy Spam, offensive Mewtwo it is. Let's slap on an Indeedee. Slap on a Life Orb. I think Terra Psychic is probably correct. I don't know, it's tricky because I want to run Aura Sphere. I probably need Fighting to make that do worthwhile damage, but I might honestly need Psychic to make Expanding Force do worthwhile damage. And I guess Expanding Force is more important. But I think this is the set. Aura Sphere is at least one thing that Mewtwo gets that Shadow Rider Calyrex doesn't. Set the HP at a Life Orb number. I think you need max special attack on Mewtwo. That's been my experience in the past, although I do want to make it turbo fast. Maybe I don't bother with the Life Orb number and I just do this. I don't know. Oh, and modest, obviously. I did say max. Indeedee, Psychic Surge, Follow Me, Helping Hand, etc. This Indeedee, I don't think is likely to need Terra Grass or something, but let's see what the rest of the team looks like. What's the other restricted Pokemon to pair with Mewtwo? Is it Zamazenta? Am I just making a worse Shadow Rider Zamazenta team? Zamazenta gives me something into Hoopa. Wait, I have an idea. I mean, it's still not very good, but... Actually, is there anything that gets the move Psychic Terrain and also gets Gravity? Arceus. But I can't run that with Darkrai. Oh wow, also Deoxys, Hoopa, and Mew. Quite a few restricteds, actually. And Calyrex. And Mewtwo itself, which is interesting. Can I run Gravity Mewtwo? Do I have room for that? Cresselia for Farigiraf. Male Indeedee, but not female. I guess female Indeedee must not get Gravity. There's Iron Leaves. With the booster energy, I can make that go fast. But that's loading up on Psychic types. Probably a little too much, right? I'd run what? Like Psychic Terrain? Also, Psychic Terrain would turn off any Electric Terrain. It would nerf my own Psyblade, and then I'd be running that with like Gravity and Psyblade. I don't think that works for this team. I could run Meowstic. Or I could just put Gravity on Mewtwo. Kind of ridiculous, huh? But I don't know. I need Tailwind. I think Whimsicott. This can have Focus Sash, Terra, Ghost probably, Dark Void, Dark Pulse, Taunt, Pact, something like that probably. If I'm running Psychic Terrain... Oh, I'm already using the Focus Sash on Darkrai. Let's stick with Covert Cloak. Let's get Fake Tears on this one. Not being able to click Encore and Fake Tears in my own Psychic Terrain is actually a bit of an issue, but the Moonblast is still valuable. So we'll live with this. And then this needs something on the physical side. It's probably an Urshifu. Oh, I could do Urshifu and Tornadus instead of Whimsicott. Because Fake Tears, Prankster Fake Tears just has that obvious anti-synergy with the Psychic Terrain. I don't really think it's that valuable. But with Tornadus, I get not only Tailwind, but also Rain Dance to power up Rapid Strike Urshifu. And then usually I run something like this on Tornadus. Maybe I don't need double taunt. I always run Hypnosis on Darkrai to bypass Wide Guard. And then what else does this team need? Good Pokemon, probably. Well, it has some. I'd say this team has at least 3 good Pokemon. Urshifu. I'm inclined to go Choice Band. Just hit as hard as I can with this thing. Because this is like all of my physical damage packed into one Pokemon. And I have Tailwind, so this I feel less strongly about using a Scarf. I will still bring Aqua Jet, even though it has anti-synergy with Psychic Terrain. Not like Psychic Terrain will always be up. And then... This kind of loses to Magearna Trick Room right now, depending on the positioning. It's also not great into Miraidon. It's also not great into probably most things, but... I'm worried about Miraidon. I'm worried about Trick Room stuff. I might be down to just slap on a Landorus. Give me a ground type to answer Miraidon and an offensive threat into Magearna. Or I could run Ursaluna actually. I don't have any. Oh, I do have Trick Room for it. I can put Trick Room on Indeedee. Hang on. Here, Fairy. I'll go with the Psychic Seed set for extra staying power, I think. And Ursaluna. It's some kind of emergency button into Miraidon and opposing Trick Room. Min speed, presumably, because of the Trick Room issue, and then just the standard Ursaluna set. Alright, this team is going to suck, but let's fill in the rest of the details and see just how bad it actually is, or whether it's actually secretly good and I don't even realize it yet. Alright, well, whatever it happens, here is what we're working with. I don't know if I ever explicitly said what I came up with back there, but one thing Mewtwo has that Shadow Rider Calyrex doesn't is Aura Sphere, a fighting type attack that does not require terrestrialization, but unfortunately also doesn't hit very hard. But another thing Mewtwo has is Focus Blast, which hits much harder, but is much less accurate. So if I want to use Darkrai to create openings for Mewtwo... How did I get onto Gravity, by the way? And Darkrai? I don't remember. But if I want to use Darkrai to put things to sleep, I have Dark Pulse twice. One of those should be Dark Void. I better fix that in the builder. If I want to use Darkrai to create openings for Mewtwo with Dark Void, then I have to have somebody setting Gravity, and if Mewtwo's setting Gravity, then it can also use Focus Blast with much more accuracy than usual. There we finally go. I did, though, switch to max speed Mewtwo, even though I said max special attack was probably important for damage rolls. I have made it timid instead of modest so that it's faster than Darkrai, and I can get the Gravity before the Dark Void, and then, hey, if Darkrai puts things to sleep, Mewtwo gets more chances to attack, right? As for the rest of the team, it's pretty much as described before. It is min speed Ursaluna, which is probably going to be terrible in a lot of matchups, but potentially game-saving in some, into Trick Room. Let's just make some small corrections here, and we'll be good to go. So that is Dark Void in Darkrai's first move select. Can you imagine? I think the game would tell me you have the same move twice, right? Because that can't be legal. And I do also want to see, so Darkrai, it hits 194 speed, so can I go, that's not enough. Okay, I don't want to take any more EVs away from Mewtwo's valuable stats, we'll just not optimize for a Life Orb number. Let's go. I was checking there whether I could make Mewtwo slower, but still slower than it is now, but still faster than Darkrai, and get its HP to a number ending in 9, because that's optimal for Life Orb, but no, not without a bunch more adjustments and probably actually doing some calcs. Here's a Magearna Trick Room team right away. This one has Bruxish to shut down priority and also set Trick Room. Lunala is also a Trick Room setter, as is Magearna itself. Does this ladder not have an open team sheet option anymore? Huh. Well, anyway. They have fast stuff with Dragapult. They have potentially Scarf and Annihilate. Could be Scarfed. Let's go... Okay, I probably don't need Tornadus in this one, right? Let's go... The Annihilate is a problem. I want to just go Mewtwo, Darkrai. Alright, so let's do it. With Indeedee and Ursaluna. Not all of these Annihilate are Scarf. Some of them are non-Scarf. Still trying to put things to sleep for Magearna. Okay, they're going Lunala, I assume for Wide Guard. I think they probably Wide Guard and Trick Room here. And in anticipation of that, I'm going to Gravity and Hypnosis into Bruxish. If they make the play that I think they'll make, then I found a fun and cool answer to it. If they do something else, then I'm in trouble. That's how it goes with some of these teams in this series. I did not know that Mewtwo learns Gravity. It's a good thing I happened to check the list of Pokemon that get that, and also Psychic Terrain when I was really lost in the weeds for this team. Nice, we got Bruxish asleep. Denied Trick Room. The problem is I'm not really threatening any damage here. I'm going to pivot out to Indeedee and go for Hypnosis into Lunala next. I kind of want to just Expanding Force and Dark Pulse into Lunala to break Shadow Shield and then knock it out, but if they Terra and Trick Room, then I'm kind of just back where I started. Yeah, see? Terra Fairy. They probably went for Trick Room. Lunala guaranteed to stay asleep this turn. I think I just pivot Mewtwo back in and Dark Pulse Bruxish. Not risk that waking up. I never thought about Mewtwo's ability. It should probably be Unnerve, right? Lunala woke up immediately, but it went for Meteor Beam into Darkrai, which didn't quite KO. Now they get Magearna. They can Wide Guard here, unfortunately. But if they do that, they don't really gain any initiative. I'm going to Expanding Force anyway and Hypnosis Magearna. Magearna protects. Lunala drops to a crit. That might have mattered. I don't know my Mewtwo calcs. Magearna gets a Soul Heart boost, but they still have never set Trick Room up. There's still one more turn of Gravity. I think I'm pretty safely just Expanding Force and Hypnosis here. Ursaluna protects. Opponent already said GG in the chat. Expanding Force doesn't do a whole lot to Magearna, but I do land Hypnosis there. I'm just gonna... I have run out of Gravity turns, but I can't let Ursaluna get a chance to attack, so... I am just going to Focus Blast here. Oh, I had a free Gravity. That's unfortunate. I think they might still be going for Trick Room, but if Magearna actually sets that at this point, then it's beneficial to my Ursaluna in the back, but they forfeit before we get to see how that plays out. There we go. It was pretty scuffed. I had a lot of awkward positions this game, but Mewtwo does start things off with a win. Let me change its ability to Unnerve, because I just forgot to ever think about that in the builder. And we'll press on. Oh, that's right. That Eternatus team used Spite on a couple of Pokemon, plus Pressure Mewtwo and Pressure Eternatus. So it was also PP stalling, as well as using Mewtwo for fast recovery. I forgot that angle of the team. It is a funny way to actually make use of Pressure, which is not very useful a lot of the time in VGC, but that team so aggressively lowers the opponent's PP that it actually can come in handy. And Eternatus in general makes good use of Pressure because it's so bulky and it can set up with Calm Mind. But we didn't go that direction for this team. And I have to figure out how to deal with Arceus, Incineroar, Gothitelle. Uh-oh, it's Arceus Perish Trap, Fluttermane, Urshifu, and Koraidon. I bet that's Single Striker Shifu too. Nightmare matchup for Mewtwo. Honestly, probably the best thing I can do to start is just throw off Expanding Force. And I'll bring Darkrai, and... do I bring Tornadus to this one? Having two Taunt users is valuable. In fact, maybe I should be leading with one of them. But I'm just going to see what kind of damage Mewtwo can do. I'll just bring Darkrai and Tornadus, though. I guess Mewtwo and Darkrai is my restricted duo here. Alright, Gothitelle and Arceus, they cannot fake out. They can't extreme speed if they have it. Honestly, I'm just down to see what they have for helping hand boosted expanding force here. I'm sure Gothitelle will take it fine, but yeah, Arceus doesn't. Taunt and DD. Okay, so no more helping hand. That's fine, I think. It's a little unfortunate that my Pokemon are trapped and I can't switch Darkrai in. Until somebody's knocked out. Incineroar, okay. They still can't fake out, so even though I don't have gravity up, I'm still down to throw off a Focus Blast, and I guess the all Indeedee can do is Psychic Gothitelle. Sure. We connect the Focus Blast, it doesn't quite KO. But they Flare Blitz back instead of knock off or anything, so Incineroar knocks itself out with the recoil. And who's left? Koraidon? Rapid Striker Shifu. I was wrong about the form. Well, that drops to Expanding Force if I get the attack off, and they can't Aqua Jet in this terrain. Arceus Perish Trap teams are very scary. It seems like they're doing well from what I've heard, but I think this opponent just didn't know how to play into Psy Spam offense. Just didn't have a way to deal with especially the Psychic terrain, because they seem very dependent on the Fake Out cycling and stuff. Anyway, that one worked out pretty well. Mewtwo put in work. Never got Darkrai on the field, but didn't need it. Here we get Miraidon, Shadow Rider Calyrex, Whimsicott, Iron Hands, Incineroar, and Farigiraf. This is definitely scarier for Mewtwo. Shadow Rider Calyrex kind of walls it, actually. Uh-oh. I guess that's the other problem with that existing in this format. I could lead Mewtwo Darkrai again, but I think that's too slow. Yeah, this is where I'm going to have a problem, because they have Tailwind and their restricted Pokemon are faster than mine, so even if I set Tailwind, their Tailwind stuff is faster. Maybe I can bait them, though. Maybe I can do, like, Mewtwo and Indeedee, Darkrai, Ursaluna. Nope. Yes. Yes. And actually be looking to set Trick Room. That makes it a little bit dicey into their Iron Hands. If I get Trick Room up, my restricted Pokemon underspeed theirs, which is advantageous. But their non-restricted Pokemon are a problem. So I'm leaning pretty hard on Ursaluna to put in work if that's the way this plays out. But we'll see. Leading Indeedee, of course, also gives me terrain control at turn 0 at least. Turn 1 if they lead Miraidon, but they don't. A lot of Showdown opponents fall for that. This one didn't. Can I just Gravity and Trick Room? And then look to Focus Blast stuff after this? I don't really have an offensive threat into Indeedee. I mean, they do have Knockoff, but it's a very bulky Indeedee, and it doesn't have an item right now because of the Psychic Seed being consumed. So Knockoff doesn't get the damage boost. Let's try it. I would love to be able to land my Focus Blast if I get the chance. I don't. They knock out Mewtwo. But I get Ursaluna. I am realizing I don't have Protect on Indeedee, so just clicking Earthquake is pretty dicey. Honestly, I think I'm down, though, to knock out my own Indeedee this turn with a Helping Hand boosted Earthquake, and then I get the Flame Orb next turn. Let's make the most of Trick Room instead of playing passively. Take out my own Indeedee, take out Incineroar. Calyrex survives and knocks out Ursaluna. Oh, well. Went out with a bang, at least. I do still have Darkrai. And that does sort of beat their Calyrex and Trick Room, and their Miraidon, but certainly not the Iron Hands. Probably not the Farigiraf. Well, maybe the Farigiraf. What does Farigiraf do back? Certainly not the Whimsicott, I would think. What do I know? You're taking some time with this one. It's Farigiraf. Okay. Again, though, what does Farigiraf... Okay, so probably I think what they do here is they protect Calyrex and they reverse my Trick Room. So with that in mind, I'm going to click Hypnosis into Farigiraf to try to deny that. I don't think they let me just KO their Calyrex here, right? I'm not sure I have enough. Well, I have 3 Trick Room turns left. The way this can work out is... Oh, never mind. They can deny sleep with that. Yeah, good play by them. I don't think I had an answer to that. If they had left Calyrex in, then I would have put Miraidon to or Farigiraf to sleep there, denied the... I guess this just doesn't do enough damage, and I can never sleep Miraidon because of the terrain it sets up. So actually, I think I always lose that one. Oh well. I gave it a go. Who's next? What's next? What kind of matchup is next? Any next matchup coming up on this ladder? There we go. I guess there is no open team sheet option in Reg J now. I guess because it's only a ladder format, so there's no open team sheet option in the actual game. Well, that's fine. Indeedee, Ursaluna, probably another Expanding Force, Calyrex, Koraidon, Raging Bolt, Chi-Yu, Scary Sunroom once again. Mewtwo has a lot of trouble into this. However, what am I gonna do? Not try this? Bring Ursaluna. Yeah, this team has some pretty obvious glaring weaknesses, but I have had some fun with it already. Good. Chi-Yu can click Snarl. Like, I want to do Gravity Follow Me. The problem is Chi-Yu can click Snarl. Actually, Raging Bolt sometimes runs Snarl as well. Well, maybe they won't. Yeah, okay. That does so much damage to Mewtwo. And the Chi is faster as well. It's probably Choice Scarfed. I can get Ursaluna in here, though. They'll knock out Indeedee before I can set Trick Room. But what if they don't? Seems like a lot of my gameplay in this this video is, but what if they don't? Oh well. It's like that sometimes. I'm gonna go Darkrai just because it doesn't drop immediately to Snarl, and I think I just Earthquake and Protect here. They're letting me have the Chi-Yu. That Snarl does so much damage. Chi-Yu is such a strong Pokemon. They got their Earthquake off first. They knocked out their own Chi-Yu. They might not be running Min Speed or Ursaluna. I have little way to know. They haven't Terra'd yet, so it's not as simple. Also, their Calyrex is the fastest Pokemon on the field. Well, maybe this KOs somehow. I can't just attack with Mewtwo because the Calyrex knocks it out first. Sash Calyrex. Well, yeah, this restricted duo of Mewtwo and Darkrai just doesn't have enough firepower for a lot of matchups, so... Hey, I'm doing what I can. Let's get another one. GG to my opponent. That is unfortunately Mewtwo's problem almost 30 years after its debut. It doesn't really have enough firepower anymore. And doesn't quite have enough going on to justify. It does have a very large move pool, but doesn't quite have the stats or other buffs. I mean, Unnerve is not a great ability when Calyrex gets that, and also Grimnay. Doesn't quite have the stats or other buffs to put in enough work to compete with other restricted Pokemon. With that said... Let's honestly try Indeedee Darkrai lead here with Mewtwo in the back, and... I could set Trick Room. But Ursaluna is really bad if they don't. I'll bring Tornadus. Bleak Wind Storm actually hits a lot of this team pretty hard. This makes me weaker into Trick Room. But the alternative would be very weak into non-Trick Room. Unfortunately, it looks like they're going with Trick Room. They can pretty freely Wide Guard and Eruption here, or they can go for Trick Room. I don't have Gravity up. Do I have to just try to put Lunala to sleep anyway? Unfortunately, I think so. Go with Hypnosis. That's not stopped by Wide Guard. I miss, but they don't go for Trick Room. I get a lot of damage into Torkoal with Indeedee Psychic. I can just try the Hypnosis again, honestly, at this point. 60% to hit. I've already missed one, so surely this is guaranteed, right? That's how probabilities work, right? Surely. Yeah, exactly. This KO's Torkoal. I'm surprised at how my opponent's playing this one so far. Maybe they went for Trick Room there. Lilligant is a problem, especially because I don't have any kind of sleep immunity on my Indeedee. But I think what I'm going to do here is just follow me and get Mewtwo in. Does that work? I have to get past this... okay, I'm going to follow me in Dark Pulse. I have to get past this Wide Guard threat somehow. They might just let me knock out Lunala now that it's asleep. They didn't put Indeedee to sleep, and they didn't knock it out either, so it gets another follow me. Here's Koraidon. Need to get Mewtwo in. Well, they'll get at least one KO this turn. I'm just going to click Dark Void in the meantime. And then on the next turn, I think I can just Tailwind and... Oh, I thought they might take 2 KOs here. They only take 1. Means I can't Tailwind. I also missed the Dark Void into Lilligant. I actually can Tailwind if I bring Tornadus in before Mewtwo. But I only have 1 turn of Psychic Terrain left. I don't know. Expanding Force, Dark Void, maybe something connects, and we can work from there. These 2 Pokemon also do kind of both lose to Bleak Wind Storm if I can get Tornadus positioned somewhat competently. Fire. They Sleep Powder into Darkrai. That gives Mewtwo a chance to throw off an Expanding Force. And what is... Koraidon took a lot of damage from that. Is it going for Flare Blitz? Flame Charge. And that KOs Mewtwo from here. The good news is Koraidon doesn't have spread damage. Actually, the bad news is Darkrai's asleep. But Darkrai could wake up as soon as the next turn. And I just needed an Expanding Force or a Dark Pulse or a Bleak Wind Storm if it connects into this. So I guess that works out okay. Definitely a shaky one, but a win's a win. This is Magearna Trick Room again. Well, maybe they don't lead with a Scarf Annihilate, but the last one didn't. I haven't brought Urshifu to a game. Worth noting. Smeargle gets Wide Guard. It also gets Fake Out. I think I would love to set Gravity this turn, but I think Smeargle is probably going to go for Fake Out, so I'm actually going to switch to Indeedee and just raw Dark Void. I can also reverse a Trick Room with that. Okay, it's Wide Guard Smeargle. They don't Trick Room. And if they don't follow me, they get a Speed Boost with Moody, which is pretty scary here. If they don't follow me, then I can go for Hypnosis into Magearna. They're still just clicking Wide Guard. I missed the Hypnosis as well. Yeah, Mewtwo is just not getting it done as a Gravity setter because it's pressured out so easily. I'm going for Dazzling Gleam with the Magearna. Honestly, maybe I should be going for Trick Room here, but... I need to get this Smeargle out of here. They went for Spore into Mewtwo. Nice. So Indeedee will knock out the Smeargle. No damage on Mewtwo this turn. Magearna sets Trick Room. Okay. That might actually be secretly... Oh, never mind. No, Ursaluna doesn't save this one now. I'm gonna say secretly kind of good, but it's not. Oh. Maybe something weird happens. Or maybe something very normal happens. Magearna's now +4. Ursaluna will be slower than Magearna, but it won't be slower than Torkoal. Let's get my Flame Orb, just in case. We can pull this one out somehow. Or do I need Trick Room to be up? It doesn't matter. I need all the damage I can get with this Earthquake. Alright, here we go. Ursaluna, dodge the eruption. Wow, it even crit. I actually don't know for sure if that would have KO'd without a crit. But how do I beat their last Pokemon after that? Alright, I think that was 3 losses. This team is not very good. I think a serious effort to make Mewtwo actually do well in this format would probably look like that Eternatus team, where you use Pressure Mewtwo, Pressure Eternatus, and a couple Spike Pokemon to PP stall while also doing a bulky setup thing with the Fake Out Bros and whatnot. But it is sort of a core premise of this series that I build a team myself. If I were doing, you know, a Mewtwo feature, let's try to make Mewtwo actually good in the format, I would take a lot of inspiration from this, but we just don't copy teams in this series, for better and sometimes for worse. I'm going to play the one last game that I do sometimes. I'm going to lead Mewtwo Darkrai no matter what, and I'm going to go for the Gravity. And we'll see whether I'm letting myself get pressured out of that too easily. Something I do sometimes in some of these. Whimsicott, Chanpao, Regieleki, Shadow Rider, Calyrex, Zamazenta, Farigiraf. This is a terrible matchup for Mewtwo Darkrai lead. A bunch of these are faster and hit way too hard, and they also have Wide Guard, but I said what I said. Let's give it a go. And I'll bring in DD and Tornadus, I think. I think I'll bring in DD and Tornadus. Sure. Whimsicott, Chanpao. Honestly, of all the leads they could have gone with, this is not the very scariest. Although I think they just knock out Mewtwo. Unless they click Sucker Punch into Mewtwo. They could click Sucker Punch into Mewtwo, so they might not knock it out before I get the Gravity. I hope not. At least no Dark Void. Oh no, don't break my heart, forcing me to do over what I must do here. Tailwind? Taunt into Dark... Oh, okay. That got me good with that. But we just reposition a little bit, protect, and switch to a DD. They can't Encore Mewtwo once Psychic Terrain is up. And I can look to Focus Blast the Chanpao. Ice Spinner. Oh, Ice Spin. Okay. Right, they run that now. They're back to running that sometimes, aren't they? Well, I don't know, folks. Let's see what happens here. I'm still sticking with the Focus Blast. They knock out in DD. No more Psychic Terrain for me in this game. No Encore, they're just Moonblasting. It's Sash Chanpao. I mean, I kind of figured. Do I go Tornadus here? Chanpao's faster than Mewtwo anyway, right? I'm going to protect Mewtwo, anticipating that... I can't protect Mewtwo, can I? Well, the way they're playing their Whimsicott, I actually think I can. Let's try to get this Chanpao out of here. I'm going to say I don't need to protect Mewtwo. They might want to taunt Darkrai again. Maybe not. Maybe they anticipate that I play this differently because of what they did earlier, but I think I have to make some aggressive plays here to see if I can potentially climb back into this one. Protect Chanpao. And taunt Mewtwo. Interesting. Whimsicott is finally knocked out, but Chanpao is still such a threat, and now they get somebody else on the field. Calyrex. That basically just KOs Mewtwo for free. I don't want to switch Tornadus in on it, so... I can still taunt Darkrai. Yeah, I think it's cooked, but let's see. They can taunt Darkrai, or they can just knock it out with Astral Barrage into Ice Spinner, presumably. Their Pokemon are still faster than mine, most likely. Even without their Tailwind. I get my Tailwind once Mewtwo is gone, but... Then what? I still lose to the Champao? I'm going to read a Protect on Champao. Like I said, I kind of have to make some plays here. Hypnosis into Calyrex. Anticipate the Champao doesn't attack here. Or it attacks Tornadus. Tailwind Hypnosis. Still need that to land. Gravity is gone. Ice Shard. Doesn't KO, but I missed the Hypnosis. That'll be GG. Yeah, it's an interesting team concept. I'm not at all upset that I tried it, but this one just doesn't have the firepower that it needs. They can Ice Shard Darkrai here. So even landing Dark Void into both targets is probably not a viable out. Opponent said RIP in chat. Yeah. Alright, well, sometimes the team builder leads you down a weird path, and Gravity Mewtwo was certainly one of those. I think if you want to make a serious Mewtwo team, it looks probably much more like this. And it might be worth trying out how something like this holds up in Reg J. Maybe I will, I don't know. But in any case, that was the original, most powerful Pokemon in the world. Many such Pokemon now, and maybe we'll get another of them from the wheel next time. Who knows?